There you go. Now I think we're live.
Great.
Well,
I actually
a hat on my head, really messy.
Go on, go and do that then.
Well, I could do it richer right here. I just have to take the headset off. Back to it.
All right. Tim stinky. He's poopy. Smells a lot. Can't hear us at all because he's got his headset off. Smelly, big smelly. Stupid smelly bum brain.
What did you say about me?
I wasn't talking about you.
Yeah, you fucking were.
I was gonna say I meant to I think I might do that today. I want to make that logo so we can have that like a prelude screen. And then if I send it over to you, we can just make a scene for it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not a logo, just like a bit of text. I'll say show is starting soon or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
What shall I say? Spinning up the boys.
Yeah. Should put like and then have like a loading bar. And have us like do like an animation of us slipping through one of those.
Hang on a minute.
You know those cracks in video games that like hide loading screens.
A squeeze through moment.
Yeah, just us doing a squeeze through.
Yeah. I'm afraid my talents aren't quite there. If anybody wants to make an animation of us doing a squeeze through moment, that would be awesome.
You can't stick a couple hundred on Fiverr, you'll be alright.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll be fine. Actually, I have interest. What happens if I share my screen?
Oh, Deck, no.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to fucking do it, dude.
Well, it would just take over your little square, I think.
Yeah, well, that would be cool. Hang on, I need to fucking authenticate.
Why would that be cool? I don't understand what purpose that would solve. But
it means, I don't know.
You get to show the audience something in a really tiny square.
Oh, it's going to make me quit and reopen it. Okay, yeah, I'm not going to do that now then. Yeah, I don't know. That could be helpful. What if I wanted to show like a picture of the donkey or something?
You could send me a picture. What? Yeah, all right. You know, we'll test it. We'll test it off air.
You don't want to test it on air?
Not particularly. I don't think we'll need a donkey for this episode. Although Arcane are fucking donkeys, am I right?
Am I right?
That should be the title.
God. You know, we've got a lot to get into. Let's just go.
Yeah. Let's get started, yeah, because I can't have this go on for hours. All right. Do this.
Hi everyone.
Oh, I'm not jingling.
Today this is a quick resume podcast. It's episode 95, and today we're dooming and glooming.
It's a dark day.
It's a dark day. It's a dark day for all the Xbox fans across the world. Or is it? You know, it's a big question. You might think I'm going somewhere with this. I'm not.
I'd say it's grey and it's murky. I wouldn't say it's dark. I wouldn't say it's doom.
It's murky. Right, and this is part of the problem, Tim, because I don't know how much you saw. The internet lost its mind with the Redfall announcement, but there were, you know, this is an indication that Xbox is throwing in the towel level of freak out.
Really?
You know,
okay.
Really, I mean it. You know, and also like Xbox still hasn't put out a good game since 2015 or whenever. Like, I don't know.
Well, that doesn't make any sense.
Like this sort of stuff was still coming back up. You know, so it's been a weird one. You know, and I think there's lots to talk about there, because of that, really. And you know, we obviously weren't here last week, so I've like done we're gonna miss some major items from last week because we're on schedules, guys, honestly. Mm-hmm. So anyway, we've got stuff to go over. We'll be fine. So all of that and more today on your favorite podcast. I'm Deck. Hi, and that's Tim over there.
Hello, I'm Tim.
Yeah. So let's get right into it, Tim. With what we've been playing. We've been playing a lot of Overwatch, haven't we? It's season 4. Let's keep this brief. How have we been finding it?
Yeah. I think it's a pretty good season so far. I still think it's going through. We'd say it's still going through its growing pains. They're still finding their feet with the rank system and stuff like that. But from a battle pass perspective, it looks pretty strong this season. New character looks pretty fun. I think he needs some tweaking. I think he's got a bit too much to juggle at once, and he can become a bit of he just messes with your brain a bit. But I think the ideas there are pretty cool with him. And yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's decent. It's a good season from what I can tell.
Timmer's here. Hi, Timmer.
Hi, Timmer.
Yes, I agree. You know, I was actually thinking, thank God for Overwatch. I mean, they've kind of pulled it together since the launch of the Overwatch 2. It feels kind of weird to even call it that. It doesn't feel like Overwatch 2, but you know, whatever. Yeah, in terms of the content cadence, because there was like a moment of time where everybody thought, is this going to be like a Halo Infinite thing where, because they delayed a couple of things. They delayed a season and they delayed a load of patches, and the game kind of got stale for about, there was like no updates for like a month and a half or something like that, and everyone was like, oh, but they kind of pulled it together, and they got the schedule together, and it just remains like one of the best shooters out there, like the best team shooter, honestly, the best hero shooter. It's just a lot of fun, man. It's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's always a good time. It's like our little safety game when there's a few people online and we're not entirely sure what to play. Yeah, it's good.
Other than that, I've been playing still GTA 5, having a good time there. I tried a bit of Loop Hero. That was on Game Pass. That's a good time. Okay. That's a weird game. Loop Hero is a weird game.
Yeah, you told me about that, and I've never heard of it, and I haven't looked into it since you told me, but you said it was obviously one for me to keep an eye on, but...
Yeah, it's it came out like, I want to say like 2 years ago or something. It came out ages ago, and then it was like, you know, it's just on PC, and then it was exclusive to Switch for a year, and then it's finally come to Xbox. It's one of those sorts of indie games, which is happening so much, and I've whinged about before, but one of these, you know, well-received indie games that gets a year exclusivity on every platform before it makes its way to the last one, whether it's Xbox or PlayStation or Switch or whatever. Yeah. But it's good. It's weird. It's like a deck builder, sort of, but you place the deck on like a map. It's just top down, and your character just walks around in circles, like auto fighting essentially. But where you place stuff on the map impacts what you're doing, and then you've got to decide when to finish the loop so you can carry all your resources back. And like if you decide to start another loop, your character just walks around the map. Obviously, there's high risk because if you don't make it, you lose everything that you've got. That's kind of the premise of it. It's really hard to explain. I'd recommend it. Really good cloud game. Really nice atmosphere as well, actually, honestly. Yeah, it's cool.
Sweet.
Have you been playing anything else other than Overwatch?
Not particularly this week. I mean, since we last spoke and since we last did the episode, I completed Resident Evil 2. And I'm going to start Resident Evil 3 and potentially move on to 4 if I feel like I have time before Redfall and I want to spend the money. But I don't think I've been playing anything else. No. Just trying to think. No, not really. No, literally just Overwatch, Resi 2 got completed. That's about it for me. Obviously been hopping in and out of Marvel Snap, but nothing too much on like the Xbox side of things.
Marvel Snap.
Yeah, it's a good one, dude.
It is a good one. There's something else I wanted to say. I wanted to start Ghostwire Tokyo. I haven't done it yet. I've been really impressed with how the game's like been received, you know, a year later or whenever it is, with the additional DLC, because they've added like a roguelite mode and it's had all optimization patches and stuff, because I think performance was one of the things the game lost a lot of marks for at launch. So, you know, it's coming in at like 85 kind of range, which I think even people who hadn't yet played it are quite surprised, like, oh, I can't, you know, I'm quite surprised it's coming in that high. And that obviously there haven't been all that many reviews because it's a relaunch. It's had like 15 reviews or something like that. So, but nonetheless, I'm excited to play it and give it a go. It looks really, I keep seeing gameplay clips of it pop up on my Twitter feed now, and I'm like, that looks really cool.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's a very, from like a visual perspective, watching that game, you're like, oh, like sign me up.
It's pleasing.
That is really cool. Like kind of spooky and magical and like kind of quite epic on like a scale when you look at it. Yeah, man, it's still very much on my list. I just not really sure when I'm going to get around to it because, like I said, I'm on a bit of a Resident Evil kick at the moment, which I didn't really think was going to happen. And then obviously we got like Redfall, then followed by Diablo, then followed by I've got Final Fantasy in the same month as Diablo. So it's going to be hard to squeeze it in, but then it is like a single player game. It's not going to take too long to blitz through if I did just sit down with it. But yeah. It looks good.
Yeah. I plan on giving it a go once I finished GTA. While we're on the topic of hand magic, fuck, what was it called? Immortals of Avium, Avioli,
Yeah.
Ravioli.
Immortals of Ravioli.
Immortals of Ravioli. We saw some gameplay for that this week. It's launching in July, so it was a really late showing. They held that quite close to their chest. I want to say it's an EA game, if I got that right.
I've never heard of this game.
Have you not? It was spoken about a while back, and they said it was like a magic first-person shooter.
Avium, is it? Immortals of Avium.
Yeah.
Oh no, I might have heard of this. Now I see it in front of me.
Yeah. You can pull some gameplay up if you want, but yeah, it looks kind of cool. It was like a Doom-like, so it's like very very action first-person shooter. It looked cool. We only got little snippets of gameplay. I think there's a big CGI trailer with lots of snippets of gameplay in there, and it looks cool. I definitely am digging the vibe, but I've got a few reservations. It's one of those things where it reminded me a bit of Atomic Heart, where it's like it looks a bit too good. I don't know, like graphically, I don't know. And I've meant to try Atomic Heart to see if it did hold up visually, but I just feel like there's going to be compromises somewhere in it. Because also it's really busy. Like some of the clips, again, the snippets I've seen, I'm struggling to even tell what's going on. I know you're firing green little spells, but I can't see what's going on beyond that. Yeah, I don't know. It looked cool. I'm optimistic, and a new IP from EA is pretty exciting. So.
Yeah, I'm kind of just half watching the trailer now in the background. Yeah, it looks pretty funky, and it's coming out in July. And this is like this was like an announcement. No, it wasn't an announcement trailer, but like a sort of first look.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's the first time we've seen anything really about it other than a teaser.
It does kind of.
I'm digging the aesthetic.
Gives me kind of Anthem vibes as well.
A little bit, yeah.
Just in the. Not obviously in the sense of like the robots and the flying, but just like you said, like it just looks a bit too good to be true. And some of the enemy designs look very similar to like what you fight in Anthem and the magic and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yo, the protagonist is called Jack with a K. Lawsuit incoming?
Oh, like Jack and Daxter, yeah.
Yeah.
It looks interesting, like you said, it kind of just looks like a pretty epic sort of fantasy, but yeah, okay, interesting. Yeah, I haven't really heard too much about this,
and we might get a demo or a trial for it because it's an EA game, so that might be nice. It's a shame to be launching a new IP of all things this year because it's just a bit of a mental year, but that's okay.
God, it looks mental actually. What so many fucking colours on the screen at the moment.
That's what I mean, right? You're looking at it, you're like, where?
But magic.
Yeah, and the combat looks pretty cool. Don't get me wrong, but like it is a bit busy. I think. I mean, we'll see.
There are far too many colours on the screen.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd say that.
Yeah. It's like someone just fired a bunch of Skittles out of a gun. It's pretty hard. It's pretty rough.
Cool. Nice. I'm into it.
Yeah. I'm wondering if there's another pretty cool segue I can do here. I don't know if there is, man. There's just kind of a bunch of stuff I want to get to before we kind of get into the big topic, which has been a Redfall this week. So let's move on to Ubisoft Plus finally making its appearance on Xbox this week. $18 a month, £15. I don't know what they're smoking, but I want in. I want in.
You think £15?
£15?
You think that's worth it?
No.
Yeah, I know. I'm kidding. Yeah,
Absolutely not.
it's very pricey. I mean, you're essentially doubling your subscription, right?
Yeah, I mean,
For like
Game
Ultimate.
Pass Ultimate is £12,
Yeah.
and you get so much with that. Like these are Ubisoft games; they're hardly in good value. You know, it's not like if a Capcom Plus came out right now, those guys could charge that much, and everybody would be like, "It's pricey, but you know what? You've been killing it."
Yeah. Yeah.
But Ubisoft have not.
Yeah, Ubisoft have been in decline for a little while now.
Yeah, and the game they just showed off, X Defiant, as well. Everybody's kind of like, oh, I don't know. Have you seen it? I've seen some. I haven't seen any gameplay, but I think a bunch of the press had hands on with it and could speak about it recently. I'm not sure of the details. Have you caught wind of X
I
Defiant
have
at all?
not caught wind much of X Defiant, no.
It's like, yeah, I think we spoke about it before. It's like the Ubisoft's team shooter sort of thing, like kind of Siege, but more COD like, and it's like a multiverse kind of thing. You know, there's like all of the Ubisoft characters are in there. I don't know if Sam Fisher's in there, but there's like characters from Siege, there's characters from other
No, I
Tom
do remember
Clancy's
this.
games.
Yeah.
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 Why was it fucking
Yeah,
zoomed
that
in?
looked
Get me out.
really yeah, that looked kind of weird and kind of meh, that one. Yeah, it didn't I do remember. I do remember what it looks like now.
Yeah, and so I'm like looking at like the front of Ubisoft Plus, the website, and the games that they've got as the like the top three that they're using at the front of the thing is Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Far Cry 6, and The Division 2.
All kind of, yeah. I mean, Division 2 is
Old.
crazy old. Valhalla is beginning of the gen.
It's still like just under 3 years old, Valhalla.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. And what was the other one you said?
Far Cry 6, which is still a year
Far
old. Like,
Yeah, yeah. It's
yeah.
not the best. Yeah.
Who wouldn't want to play classics such as Ghost Recon Breakpoint and The Crew? Watch Dogs Legion really set the world on fire. That's the problem. Like, they have lent a lot into the same IP, which wouldn't be a problem, but they fucking run them into the ground. And that doesn't. I don't think that serves these subscriptions particularly well. Like, there's one or two indies here I can see. The Settlers I haven't heard of. Riders Republic is probably a good one. Anno 1800. There's a couple of indie Ubisofts which, but you think about the variety that comes with Game Pass. I don't know. Maybe I'm not getting a full picture, but nonetheless, I think we can agree it's the price to value ratio seems a bit off there.
Yes, yeah, I can agree. Yeah, that's crazy expensive. I think they got some cheek to charge more than the ultimate subscription. Like, even if they were to go in at like 10, just under, I still think that's like, that's towing the line a little bit to be just under the price of an ultimate subscription. But to be over it, it's a bit greedy. It's a bit cheeky.
Absolutely. I legitimately had a Timmer section today. I've had to cut it down a bit, but my man's been busy. He's been digging, sniffing around the fields. He's been digging through the Wikipedia pages. And congrats on your 10,000th Wikipedia edit, by the way. I don't think I didn't see that. I did. You're a busy boy.
10,000?
Yeah.
King hell, mate. Nice. Respect.
Pop off, King. So there was just an interesting bit of insight. Something that Timmer posted early in the week is that Ghost Punch Games, which I'd never heard of, have helping out ZeniMax with their next AAA release. So all of this, he gets a lot of this information from like LinkedIn job postings and these poor employees who are at the mercy of of Timmer's detective skills. So I just wanted to bring it up because obviously having a support studio is really common nowadays, but I think it speaks to the volume, to the size of whatever this next game is, which I really hope we hear about at the showcase this year. Ghost Punch Games have worked on Borderlands, Mortal Kombat, Outriders, Risk of Rain 2, Prey, Civ, and from what we know, ZeniMax has been working on this new, whatever this game is, since 2016. And ESO's dev time was also 7 years. So So 2016 to now, 7 years as well, which Timber also pointed out to me. So I just think we're at looking at that studio's sort of production speed.
Yeah,
I think it's fair to say this game is
almost
close.
done. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe COVID slowed them down, so maybe we're looking at next year. But like, this is going to be a big game. I know we've touched on this before, but like, it's because there's not really much. The only speculation on the whole internet coming from this game is coming from Timmer. And so we just relay that. But nobody knows what it is. Obviously, there's been some like really hopium speculation that it's like a Mandalorian game, but it's like I don't know where that even came from. We spoke about it. I can't even remember where we even got that from.
I don't remember where that thread even started. All I know is I took it and I rode with it.
You're like, that sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I think there was also some speculation that it could be like some Starfield tie-in game as well. But again, kind of doubtful. I'm kind of any of these things I'd be happy with. I think they've done great with ESO. Obviously, it was received like well at launch, as far as MMOs go, and it's been one of the few contenders up there with World of Warcraft. So that's quite a
Final Fantasy
good.
14.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 14. Yeah, thank you. That's pretty good, all things considered. So yeah, just really excited to hear about it. Any thoughts on any of that, Tim?
Yeah, I mean, it's not much to say apart from, like you said, there's just a lot of excitement surrounding that. I feel like
a lot of mystery as well.
Yeah, a lot of mystery. It's ZeniMax are a very talented studio, and they make some really cool games which I think appeal to us as well, in the sense of it being like MMO or something like that, and something we can play with our friends, and quite big in scale, potentially high fantasy or sci-fi, something like that, something we really vibe with. So for me, it's just really exciting. And I like the idea of it could literally just be anything. It could be like another high fantasy world that they've created. It could be the Mando thing. It could be anything like that. And it's just quite exciting to see something like that. Just be a big question mark from a talented studio, and been in development for so long as well.
Yeah. And it might even be the case. We've only just found out that the Ghost Punch was it Ghost Punch?
Yeah, Ghost Punch.
Yeah, and that they're helping out. It might be the case that they're looking to sort of do a swap around. Like Ghost Punch is going to take on the live service ESO. Maybe with a bit of oversight from ZeniMax. ZeniMax are now all moving, going all in on whatever this new title is. But I agree, you've got to think about the learning that studio has had through ESO for the last 7 years or however long the game's been up.
They can make a big scale game now, live service.
They're like up there with Bungie in terms of having the expertise for live service sort of games. Bungie have been at it since 2014 with the first Destiny. So they, whatever it is, I'm sure it's going to be very ambitious. And as well, probably as a targeted exclusive, maybe. We'll have to see. With these sorts of games, maybe there's a bit less of an incentive to do that. But nonetheless, it could be very big for the platform. I'm really excited to see more.
Yeah, definitely.
So while we're on the Timmer topic, you can see he's in the chat. And by the way, if there's anybody watching who doesn't know who Timmer is, go and give him a follow. He's in the chat. Just type that in on Twitter. He does lots of Bethesda research. Very good at his job. Hobby, I guess.
Yeah, he's extraordinary.
I asked what id Software is doing, but my source didn't know. I thought that was pretty interesting. What would you like id to be doing next, Tim? Like another Doom game, a Quake game, or something completely new? Like what it would be your tipple?
Quake doesn't do much for me. I wouldn't mind seeing a revival of it, but it doesn't have me jumping out of my seat. I do like the Doom franchise, so I'd be very excited to see a third installment there. But I'd probably like something new out of them, to be honest. I think that'd be pretty cool. I always like to see new stuff over like sequels potentially, unless it's a sequel I'm a big fan of. I generally like to see new things approach and try new ideas and merging of like genres and stuff like that. Like you said, I think that's what I'm really into as of gaming in like the last like 5 years or something like that. Is people just seem to be mashing every kind of genre together, and it just kind of works. And I just really like
Yes,
that.
right.
Um, so yeah, I'd always like to see something new come out of them. Personally, yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good shout. I think we've spoken about this before of like if they are going to do Quake, like I like the sound of Quake. I've never played I actually that's not true. I did play the remaster for the first 4 levels just out of interest that came to Xbox last year or whatever, but I never played it back in the day. But it was like the idea is that it's a bit more Lovecraftian, a bit more gothic.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't have any sort of attachment to it, and it would be more of a question of like, how are you going to make this like not just Doom in a castle,
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I'd be interested. I think I'm with you. I think ultimately I would really like a new IP, but having said that, I think there is a lot of demand for Quake right now, so we'll have to see.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. What's next? Oh, Quantum Break is coming back. I don't know if you saw that.
I
we
did
spoke
see
about
it.
it leaving Game Pass.
It was a bit of a mix-up, wasn't it? Like a
Licensing.
error. Yeah. It's good that they addressed it so quick.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so no biggie, panic over. And like just in case there was anybody who thought we were hitting the alarm bells too early, it's okay. Like I still stand by what I said. Like I do think at some point Xbox are going to have to address what they're doing with their subscription services and first party. They can't just endlessly add games to the service and keep them there forever.
Yeah.
Because like that's one of the other bits of controversy this week, not on the Xbox side, was PlayStation have removing Spider-Man from PS Plus.
Okay.
The first one,
The first one
is obviously causing a bit of a upset.
Definitely.
Which I mean, I think that does suck. Like, it's an expensive service, and to lose the first party games, I think, is quite a big deal. But at the same time, I think they can get away with it because most people aren't me and you. Most people don't know what a first party game is. They just see Spider-Man and they say, "Oh, that's on a subservice." And like by nature of subservices, things come and go. I think it's a very lucky. Yeah, it's a big privilege for Game Pass to have these games which just stay forever right now. So
definitely, but I do think it's a big plus. PlayStation Plus.
Yeah,
it's a big plus for anyone buying a PlayStation for the first time and probably just wanting to join the subscription and play the games. More than likely, anyone who's gone out there and bought a PlayStation knows of like the big games, the blockbuster games that all their friends will be talking about, why they should get a PlayStation, and no doubt games like God of War and Spider-Man pop up with that. So they're going to just look there, get the subscription, and just be like, this Spider-Man game everyone's telling me to play is not actually here. So, and it's one of the big hitters for PlayStation. Sure, I mean they still have Miles Morales, but it's kind of a sequel, I guess. It's a weird game, that one.
Still haven't played it.
I've played it for like a decent amount. I think I probably got about halfway through it. It is very good. Very, very good. And it does feel a lot different to the first Spider-Man in terms of like just the way he like moves, all of his new abilities, like the music in the game and stuff like that. It's all very styled around his like personality, and it is really cool. Plus everything's all snowy and Christmassy, and that's pretty epic.
Do like snow in video games?
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
It's like the most important metric, isn't it? It's like, how good do my footprints look in the snow in this video game, and do they stay behind me? Can I see a trail of footprints behind me?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
it's really important. Yeah,
I mean everyone does it. You joke, but everyone when they see snow, they walk around in it and they turn around and they watch. They're like, and they count the seconds for how long the footprints stay there. And they're like, "Ooh, 5 seconds. It's not really good enough." That.
No, that's a 4 out of 10 game.
Yeah,
this
should be there for at least 10.
Hang on, did you buy that game or did you just play it on PS Plus?
No, I'm playing it on PS Plus. Yeah.
Okay.
I bought PS Plus until like the end of the year. I don't think I have it now. I bought it until like the end of the year for like they gave me like an offer or something for like 15 quid or something, and I started playing it on that. But I don't think I have it anymore.
Okay. Just checking if there was anything I could bum off you. That's fine.
Cheeky little weasel.
Just thought
I'm buying Resi 4 hard disk, by the way. So fuck
so cruel. Okay, that's kind of breakdown. Fuck, what was I talking about before? Done that. So we haven't talked about this in a while. 343. Wow. Frank O'Connor and Joseph Staten as well. This happened last week, but Frank O'Connor, it seemed, according to the his job listing, seems to have left 343. And he's been part of 343 since the formation of the studio after Bungie left, and Joseph Staten has left Microsoft altogether, who headed 343 for the last couple of years, just before launch, and he was obviously part of the original Bungie team back in the day, but has, in the interim, been part of Xbox Publishing, and he's left Xbox altogether, Microsoft altogether now. So it's a bit of a loss. There is a bit of like bad PR around this, obviously, because Shinji Mikami announced his retirement, or this kind of ambiguous statement about him leaving, but it wasn't clear if it was a retirement or leaving, and it's just a bit of a bad look to have like big names leave Xbox repeatedly.
So quick. It's like it almost looks like it's a bit of a domino effect, doesn't it, when it starts to happen this in quick succession like this. I mean, regardless, it's not, like you said, it's just not a good look, is it? It's a lot of talent leaving the studio. A studio that is in question already, right? 343 aren't in everyone's best books, so seeing these big boys leave it is it can be worrisome to some people, but I do think 343, regardless of this, they are finding their feet. But it's just not good.
And at the same time, there's some clear restructuring going on, isn't there?
Exactly.
And we had the Halo, terrorists essentially calling for jobs and everything, about 6 months ago. So they got what they wanted, so they're happy. But everyone else is a bit like, oh, I don't know. So you will see. Bonnie Ross left as well, or was fired, or whatever. We don't really know. A lot of
people have left 343.
And that's not even including not 343, but for Xbox, that's not even including the initiative, on all the people that left there because there seemed to be some disagreement on the development of Perfect Dark. Stabilized now, but there just has been, it's not a good look, and we don't really know. It's a bit speculatory, it's too much speculation to say if there's a real problem, like Phil Spencer's turning up with a whip, Get to work.
Make me good games.
Matt Booty, that's it. So those are two gone. We'll see how it goes. I do ultimately think 343 is getting the big restructure that it has needed for a while. They did hire some ex-Bungie staff into 343 before Joe left. This is probably why, and obviously Certain Affinity is still helping, and there's lots of ex-Bungie staff at Certain Affinity. Not that I think that's an inherently good thing, by the way, but I just think that that's like good PR, on the other side.
Yeah.
Do you know what's a word that I've been doing a lot of essays. I handed an essay recently, and it's like I'm so glad it's done because I'm it's really it's fucking me up, dude. It's fucking me up. You know what it's like. You know what it's like.
I know what it's like.
I've been doing it for months. Anyway. Yeah, months. I better not fail that. I'm not doing it again. I'll just jump off a bridge if I fail that.
You could just not do the course. You don't need to kill yourself.
I think I do. And there's a word which, academics are funny like this. Academics, like to be really concise. And that means you get to use really fun words. And one of those words is contrary-wise. How fucking fun is that? Contrary-wise. You sound like you've got a penny farthing, like you're up in a house with a little pot of tea and a monocle.
It doesn't sound right. It sounds like a made-up word. It sounds hyphenated.
Contrary-wise. Yeah, it does. Yeah. Isn't that fun? I like tea, but contrary-wise, I like coffee.
Contrary-wise. It's hard to say as well without you saying wise.
Contrary-wise. Yeah.
Wise.
Contrary-wise.
Yeah.
It's good shit, dude.
I learned something. Shit. Thanks, man.
Yeah. You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, I think we're on the last of our... Oh, no, we've got two more honourable mentions. The showcase. I wasn't sure if I should bother speaking about this. A lot of people have used it for like headlines this week. But it's like, yeah, fucking Xbox always do a 90-minute show. It's not news. Like at this point, that's the rule. And if anything changes, that's the exception. So show is 90 minutes. The only thing that we've got differently is that the Starfield Direct is 30 minutes long after, which is quite long.
It is long.
That's quite long.
It is long.
So show off Starfield, So we also know that PlayStation is doing a showcase, and it's meant to be really big. It's meant to sort of cement the second half of the PlayStation 5 generation.
So we'll see Spider-Man 2, basically.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that game's going to come out in September next to Starfield for competition. It will be. I'm really interested. I'm kind of more interested in the PlayStation Showcase this year. Not because I don't think the Xbox One is going to be bad. I think this year really represents the big shift into. Yeah, that was weird, wasn't it?
Yeah, it just went dark.
Like Gandalf just turned up in your room and started doing that spell. I'm not trying to trick you. Fuck. This year sort of represents the full ownership of Jim Ryan's PlayStation, in the same way that like this year really represents the full turn into Phil Spencer's Xbox. I know that's ridiculous because he's been the leader since 2014 now, but they didn't really get proper funding in 2016, 17, and then they started the acquisitions, and that hasn't really started paying off properly until this year. Okay, yeah, we've had things like Pentiment, we've had things like Grounded, but in terms of public perception, some of those Bethesda exclusives are finally kicking in this year. And, we might see Hellblade 2 as well again. It's crazy, isn't it, to think that some of these acquisitions happened in 2017, 2018, and it's 2023 now, and we still haven't seen their next game.
Yeah, it's pretty bonkers, isn't it? But yeah, I agree. Yeah, there's a lot to go over, and it'd be interesting to see what they sort of cherry pick for the show and what actually sort of, because there is so many that we're not going to see them all, so that they're obviously just going to only show a handful of them. But there is quite literally just quite a lot to pick from. That's right. So it will be interesting. I think both showcases this year are going to be pretty strong, both from PlayStation and Xbox. It'll be quite interesting to see who comes out on top there with the most exciting showcase.
Yeah, and as well, this is the thing. I think PlayStation's bear in mind, PlayStation hasn't had a proper showcase in 2 years, so they're going to have a lot to show.
Yeah, we'll probably
however,
might see a bit of Wolverine, maybe. No, maybe another trailer.
Maybe they show a slice.
Maybe.
Yeah,
not sure if you'll see gameplay quite yet, but yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me if they just give Insomniac a break though. But having said that, those guys work at the speed of light, so
exactly.
Who knows?
Yeah, they
game's probably
work in a hyperbolic time chamber.
Yeah. But yeah, the big thing we know about Jim Ryan's era is that what did he say? He did PlayStation's got 15 service games in development. That was a public statement. Yeah, and obviously shareholders were licking their lips, but gamers were kind of like, "Oh, I hope that doesn't come to fruition." And nobody's really said it out loud because they've been doing well. PlayStation have been doing well with their traditional big single player third-person action-adventure strategy. That's still been working, and I just think that if they come to the show and 70% of it is live service games, it's going to be really interesting. Yeah, how are fans going to react? How's the media going to react? Are service games suddenly, suddenly popular now? But we've just had this whole year's worth of conversation about remakes of, single-player AAA games. Story, but it'd be very interesting. So yeah,
definitely. Does this PlayStation Showcase have a date yet, or is it still up in the air?
No, yeah, still up in the air. Yeah, we don't have a date yet. And then finally, Minecraft Legends came out this week, Tim.
I did. Yeah.
Have you seen Minecraft Legends? What do you think about that?
I watched the IGN review on it. With Tilly, because she had it for her fantasy critic pick, and we wanted to see how it would do. I thought it looked quite good. I did think it looked a bit a bit cluttered, like a bit too much happening. I couldn't really decipher what was happening a lot, and also I feel like it was too simple in a lot of ways, where everything just kind of came down to just giant circles, select your units, tell them to go there, and they just mash everything for you. Like I was expecting, like when the IGN guy was talking, I was expecting things like, oh, you know, you can get like skeleton archers, and you can get like zombie brawlers, and then you could get like creepers to like, you know, you make like a creeper to like blow up like a section of a castle and get in a different way or something. I was expecting like different types of units where it all kind of seems quite generic and everything kind of just does the same thing. So in that regard, it seemed quite shallow to me. But I still think it got a bit lower than it deserved. I think. I think it looks fun, and I think it looks great from like a visual perspective. And I think you can have a really good time on that, especially if you play it co-op. I feel like 73 is what is that what it's even at 73. I feel like that's a bit low. You know, I'd probably pitch it from what I've seen around like 76, 77, maybe just beneath that 80 mark. But yeah, who am I to judge? I haven't even played it, but
yeah, who are you?
It looks fun.
Who are you?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I still haven't figured that out, and I'm almost 29.
It's an endless question that we
ask ourselves every almost day. 29, Nick.
Not really. I try not to think about it. You?
I think about it every night before I go to bed, and it gives me it's
the creeps.
Yeah, it's genuinely spiking my anxiety.
Like cortisol going through the roof, dude.
Yeah.
Try having a kid and a mortgage.
Jeez, man. No, I'm good. I'll do maybe one of those things. I ain't doing both yet.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So yeah, it's I think I'm kind of with you, man. Like I was really disappointed when I saw the source scores coming in and it was like low sevens. I was like, man, because I was really rooting for it. You know, I think this is ambitious. It's like a novel twist on things. It looks gorgeous as well. I love how I love how this style has really settled out and come together. You know, and there's clearly no sitting on laurels either. You know, it's a cheap game. There's a PvP component, a PvE component. Yeah, I don't know. And then, yeah, I read some of the reviews, and it is a bit of a love it or hate it by the sounds of it, because I read a couple of reviews, and a lot of them are like, yeah, it's a bit clunky, the controls, and maybe a bit simple. And then, like, there's a lot of YouTubers who have really loved it, like Skill Up loved it, ACG loved it, Mr. Matty Plays loved it, and they're all like, this is like the perfect level of complexity for this sort of game for someone who's not big into strategy, you know. And I came away from them like, you know what? I think I'm going to give it a go, because when the reviews started coming in, I was like, I don't know if I can be bothered now. But actually, I think this might work for me.
Yeah, definitely. It is crazy to think that you weirdly go to these sort of content creators and these sort of YouTubers first now over like mainstream media for like reviews and
traditional
stuff like
media.
that.
Yes,
because they tend to be a bit more grounded with their perception. They think like you and they play games like you and stuff like that. Whereas I don't think you get quite that like level of detail from a mainstream reviewer.
You get more consistency as well, don't you? Because it tends to be one person rather than like a big team.
Where, exactly. You know... Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, Skill Up tends to be the sort of one I watch first over anyone else. And yeah, I did see that he released a positive video about it, saying that he recommends it and stuff like that. So yeah, it's definitely good to see. And you know, I hope it hits some pretty big numbers. Because it does kind of deserve it, and yeah, I think it looks fine. Whether or not it's something I jump into, I don't really know. I've already got a strategy game on the go, so probably not. But yeah,
have you?
Yeah, I'm playing Midnight Suns, aren't I?
Oh yeah, that's right.
So yeah,
that old codger. Yeah, so we'll have to see. We'll have to try it. But you know, there's definitely some reviews in here which are like, really low. I mean, I don't want to be that fucking guy. It doesn't matter. But there's like a bunch of 5 out of 10s. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a bit.
I don't know, man. Like,
is it really
whatever,
that bad? Yeah.
Maybe it is. I don't know. I don't know. But so yeah, I mean, I think there is a bit of a conversation to be had there about like, do that team need to just stop trying to make Minecraft work in different genres? I don't know, because I think Minecraft Dungeons is successful. Like, that game is successful. I think it just wasn't critical. It was critically good. It was good. It's not for. I don't think these games are for the adult reviewer audience. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. It always boils down to like when the same for like the Minecraft dungeons and the same for Legends as well. Like, reviewers are always just like, yeah, it's fine, but if you want to play a game like this, play Diablo. And it's just like, but you shouldn't be reviewing it like that. Like you said, I just don't think it really goes into the adult reviewing process very well. And then the same for this one as well. They're just like, yeah, it's great, but like, just go play Age of Empires or go play like XCOM or something. You don't really need to play this Minecraft version of it. It's interesting.
I can't help but feel that it's like the opposite of what this is what there's some middle ground between what's happening here and then what happens with reviewers and Nintendo games, where it's sort of like Mario everything 10 out of 10. Whereas this is like kind of the opposite. It's like, well, it is Minecraft, but I don't know, like, it's not really for me. I know I'm being reductive, like, I get it, but do you see what I mean? There's kind of like, I often feel Nintendo games are overscored because of the IP, but Minecraft doesn't have that same effect on people of reviewing age, I don't feel. Maybe in another 10 years, right? When people like who played it when we were younger, maybe like then that IP will have that nostalgia. Because I don't know, like, if Minecraft came out today, how would it be reviewed? I don't know. Maybe a silly question because it's obviously an older title, but hopefully you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
So cool, straight into Game Pass, no problem at all. And it is interesting that because this game is multi-platform, it hasn't really copped any platform warrior shit. I don't know. Even though I'm like, this is a first party and this is representative of Xbox Studios, and it's Mojang who do their own fucking thing, the wider community doesn't seem to feel that way, which I just think is a really interesting dynamic, and that also is going to lead into the conversation around Redfall as well.
Ooh. Yes.
Okay, let's do it. Tim, let's get some gameplay up. I think I've got a link there for you. You'll have to manage it. You'll have to be a good producer. I'm sorry.
I got it. Yeah, don't worry.
There's a link and there's just a load of games. Just cycle through them or something. Courtesy of Xbox Era, thank you for putting all of those clips in one place from the interactive ARG that Redfall did in the last few weeks. So let's start with the negatives then. It's been 2 weeks. Obviously, if you're here, you've seen the headline. I'm calling Doom. I'm calling Doom and Gloom. Redfall was announced this week to be running at 30 frames a second on the Xbox consoles, 4K 30 on Series X, and I think it was 1440 at 30 frames on Series S. It can run at 60 on PC. And we know that because all of the previews, all of the gameplay demonstrations has been running at 60 on PCs. That's a problem in and of itself. That's like, before we even open the can of worms, the can has a problem. I've got a fucking problem with that can. Why are you showing 60 everywhere if that's not representative of most gameplay? Like, just put it on the bottom of the clips. Playing on PC, like, this is on PC.
Exactly. Like, you've seen that be done before by like other studios showing off their game and stuff like that. They're like, this is captured on PC, so everyone does look at that and take it with a pinch of salt and be like, okay, yeah, this looks fucking incredible, but it's being played on the most insane PC ever, right? Probably the highest spec you can buy for the sakes of this trailer. So it is very interesting that they didn't choose to do that and just sort of try and pull the wool over people's eyes. I just don't really get what they were trying to do. Yeah, I've separated the links, by the way, because this website is really shit. No offense, Xbox Era, but it's kind of like crashing.
Yo.
It's kind of like crashing my. I think it's like all the ads and all the embedded videos. It's kind of crashing everything.
Yeah, that's right. It'll take you to unlisted videos, so yeah, just do what you gotta do. Yeah, and it's like even worse, like dropping that news 3 weeks before launch is like, I mean, it makes me think something went wrong. It makes me think that was the target, but they've hit like a critical bug, or something's happened in the development pipeline which has made them realize, shit, when we're not gonna be able to get this ready for launch. When that was the plan.
Mm-hmm.
So that's problem number one. The timing of this, and kind of the lack of transparency. And I do kind of feel bad for Arcane, because they're kind of it's kind of not, because they're now a first party studio and this is a first party release, they're getting caught up in the wider narrative around Xbox's AAA games. Bear in mind, Redfall is technically going to be the first AAA first party game that Xbox has put out since Halo.
Yes.
And that's mental. Like, that's end of 2021 was Halo and Forza.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been a long time.
We're now halfway through 2023. So Redfall is kind of getting caught. It has like a way more pressure than any normal Arcane release. Like, if this was just coming out as an independent game or a multi-plat game, people would be like 30 frames, whatever. But it's Arcane. They never. Their performance is always quite good on PC, but consoles has been hit and miss. And I guess that's kind of raising some red flags as well. That it's like, is this representative of poor performance across the board?
Yeah.
It's just that this game needed wins. It needs wins, and it's not getting them. They cannot catch a break.
Yeah. It's just, and it's just a case of it. Yeah, it needs wins, but it also needs to avoid fucking L's. Like, because this game takes a very small step wrong and it gets torn apart. Let alone if it gets, let alone when it gets news like this, like that shit's just like not really okay. But it's extra annoying to me because they were just like, yeah, it's coming, but you're just not gonna have it yet, and it's just like, was the game fucking finished or not? Like, that's the impression I get when I hear something like that. Like, I don't know if that was something that they just did that they thought would soften the blow, but to me, it's just like, great, it's coming, but like, could you not just delay it and just release it with it rather than just, I don't know, does that not rub you the wrong way as well a little bit? Like,
I mean, it didn't for me, but you're not the only person who said that. I don't necessarily agree with this narrative that it's like, this means that the game's launching unfinished. Like, games can launch 30 and it still be finished. Like, just because they say that they intend to do something after launch, that doesn't mean, like, you as the consumer don't get to decide what means finished and unfinished. But I do understand the angle that it's like, if a lot of people feel like, the current gen 60 is the new bench, like, standard.
Yeah.
And therefore not getting that, it can, create this kind of sense of unfinishedness. I don't necessarily agree, but that's kind of, that's kind of the sentiment from some people in the community. So yeah, and I mean, I think we'll end the whole topic with, should there or should there not be a delay? But I want to see the game succeed, and I think that's the thing. I think a lot of people want to see the game succeed. Well, actually, a lot of people want to see the game fail as well. But for sure, a lot of people are like, if you launch a 30, so many people are just not going to bother. And they might come back. They might try it for the first time when it gets 60, or if it reviews well, maybe they give it a go. But there just seems to be so much running against this game that it's getting difficult to generate excitement, even though I think there's a lot to be excited about, like even in these clips you're putting here, right? I think this whole thing they did was really cool and really showcased like emergent nature of the game and the branching paths and all of that,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
hardly anyone is going to have seen this or give a shit because they're too busy typing complaints about not being able to play at 60.
Exactly. And I do want to say that this style of game as well, with it being a slower paced shooter, 30 doesn't quite hurt it as much as a different type of shooter. If it's more of like a fast paced shooter, like an Overwatch or like an Apex or
Yeah.
something like that,
Or
I feel
Halo,
like
yeah.
or like Halo, I feel like that running at 30 hurts a lot.
Yeah.
Like you really notice it. But something that you genuinely take a bit slower is a bit more sluggish by nature. I feel like
It's methodical. Yeah.
exactly. 30 it still is not ideal by any means, but it's less noticeable. Like you can get away with it a bit more is I guess what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
And it's a really great point, and I think it's a shame that most people don't understand that. Like, bear in mind, most people still think this is just a looter shooter. Like even on the subreddit, I'm going to the subreddit, and people are like, "Oh, I wonder what the end game's like." I was like, "Guys, for fuck's sake, this is not." And it's like it's not necessarily their fault. It's just like Redfall is an intersection of quite a few different genres, and it's quite hard to pigeonhole for that reason. But having read like 30 previews, I get it's if all of them agree it's like an Arcane game first and foremost. It's that immersive simmy. It's not Borderlands. There is loot, like there is loot there as a component to motivate you through the game, but you're not going to be playing this game for 60, 70, 80 hours farming that vampire at the top of the hill, farming that vampire in the basement to get a reroll on the thunder gun. That's not what this is. Like there's some elements of it. There's some procedural generation of the psychic nests to help with a bit of replayability. Play with your friends. Oh, the nest is different this time. Oh, I'll play with you yourself. Oh, it's different. Fine, but it's not a looter shooter. There is loot, and you do shoot, but it is not a looter shooter in the conventional sense. So bear with that all in mind. Most people are looking at this like Back for Blood, innit? Back for Blood or Borderlands, and those games could not. It would be dire to play those games at 30 frames, and therefore this is catastrophic.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, and I think as Hellhammer said here, where it says they should have released an in-depth reason as to why it can't run at 60 as well. Like I feel like that would have gone down quite well, as to just be like, we were just we just wanted to sort of finish the game or do other things, and add that sort of other option later down the line, or it can't be done because of a certain reason that they're sort of getting past from like a technical perspective, and they're on it, but it's going to take a couple more months or something like that. It definitely would be nice to have a bit more of a reason rather than just the wall was kind of tried to be pulled over our eyes. Eventually the news came out and they were just like, yep, take it, good luck. Have fun. This is it now. I think that might have gone down well a little bit better. Although I think that would have just been met with hate, like you said. I feel like it gets to a point where people just love to hate this game.
Yes, and I've been pointing this out. Like I'm not to downplay. Like
right now.
When on like a lot of forums, the posts for this game, there's like 2 or 3 pages at most for like something like one of the character trailers or like a positive preview or like gameplay that's really, really well received. However, the news about 30 frames, hundreds of pages.
Yeah.
The news about the IGN gameplay last week that outlets fucking scoop that up. This is such bad gameplay, and it's like a bowl of noodles like whipping it up. It's like all of it clearly is gaining a lot of negative traction, even though there is this undercurrent of kind of positivity of like a lot of people watching the gameplay are like, I think this is starting to look quite good. But all of the stuff that's just piling on top of that, it's just really obfuscating the actual quality of the game. Hopefully, maybe I'm wrong, maybe it'll come out and it is Arcane's first stinker, maybe. But I think it's actually, to me, having now seen a lot of the gameplay, it's starting to come together a lot for me, where I was a bit worried before in terms of the quality of the game. It's starting to come together. Obviously, it's a bummer. It is a bummer that it's going to be 30 frames. Don't get it twisted.
Massive bummer.
Yeah. But I've played, something like, to come back to your point, Plague's Tale Requiem was a next gen only game, I think. That was 30 frames. I played that at 30 frames. Really slow game. Really doesn't need 60, to be fair. Redfall is a bit quicker than that, but it's not like COD, Doom, Halo,
Yeah, exactly. So it's not absolutely necessary, but it's still a punch to the gut regardless. But yeah, no, I do kind of agree with you. I even when I'm watching this gameplay though, I do notice like there are some like animation issues. Like I do see some slip and slide from like the AI sometimes, from like the humans and the vampires, like when they're trying to attack you. And it doesn't look like it feels that like weighty when you get hit, like for example, and stuff like that. And that sort of stuff does, I don't know if that's just the way what they're going for. Obviously it's not crazy immersive in that combat aspect, but stuff like that, I also doesn't scream like immaculate polish to me. But I've noticed a lot of slip and slide from like the enemies.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, and I think that so I think some of the I mean that has been the biggest criticism, the biggest fair criticism, hasn't it? It's been like some of the AI is just a bit meh. The vampires is a lot better; they're a lot more challenging. But like, I'm with you that is a bit wobbly here and there. And this is like the other side of the coin, right? Contrary wise.
Nice.
Arcane are not a big studio. And this is not me making excuses. I'm just saying that when a lot of people are like, man, this Redfall isn't even a graphically good looking game. Why can't they get it at 60? And it's like,
it is.
Arcane is only at 150, according to the Wikipedia page. Timmer can correct me if this is outdated. There's 150 employees at Arcane, and that was of 2020. So let's generously bump that up to 200. There's 2 Arcane studios, 100 people per studio. And let's say they shift resources, 125. That is not that big for a AAA. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's enough to make a sizable game, but it's not enough. It's not like 400, 500 at Naughty Dog. Yeah, like 343 or Bungie. Bungie have like 700, 800, maybe even more. Exactly. It's not that many to make a cutting edge, polished levels of game. And honestly, most Arcane games have a little bit of clunkiness to them.
Yeah, they do.
They've always been there.
I'd say Dishonored does. Yeah, 100%.
Yes, Dishonored does. Yeah, absolutely. And not only that, a lot of the Leon who made Arcane Leon, who made Deathloop, and I think the studios worked together on the Dishonored franchises, but they were on the Void engine. Prey, that was Arcane Austin's game, was an Unreal Engine 4, and this is on Unreal Engine 4 as well. So I think there's also some tool unfamiliarity too that's playing into that.
Yeah.
And that's and to contextualize all of this, Dishonored's still a 91 Metacritic game. Dishonored 2 is also a 91. Prey is in the low 80s, but everybody really reveres the game. It's and this is the problem. We've really come into an age where it's like, judge a game by how it looks, not by how it feels, which is why I'm such a simp for all of these trailers. And I don't really doubt that it's going to be a good game, because I know the game's going to play well. I know moment to moment, I'm going to have to be making decisions. I'm going to be moving and shooting and doing this and that. And I know it's going to play well. Yeah, I know when I'm watching it, there's like a little bit of clunkiness that I can see.
Yes. Yeah. But you see that if you were to watch a Prey trailer, you would see that same clunkiness, I feel, if we were to go back and watch one of those. And then Prey did feel excellent to play. And even Deathloop, to an extent, looking at that game being played is not feeling it be played. And I do think that's where Arcane, that's where they suffer, and that's why I think, the sales of their game are never crazy high, because we've always said this, they never look immaculate on paper, but then when you get your hands on them and you do take that leap and you do play it, then it ends up being that really good experience you were looking for.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just doesn't necessarily translate well to a video or a trailer. But yeah, I mean, I still have high hopes for this game. The 30 did hit me pretty hard, and I am probably at this point, even watching the gameplay, I'm probably at my most skeptical I've been of the game. But at the end of the day, I still think it looks great. I still think it'll be a blast to play, as Dex said, and it's Games Pass, so like, I think it's going to be a bit of a banger, regardless. It would just from like someone looking in at Xbox, like critically, it would be a shame to see this not do great. But from my personal perspective, if it dropped like a 7, I'd still have fun with it. It's just yeah. For the situation Xbox is in, it needs to hit higher numbers. So yeah.
And I think that's the biggest bummer, really, is that it's like, maybe like so, maybe we're wrong, and maybe it is Arcane's first stinker. Fine, whatever. But the biggest bummer is that it's more that like Redfall is going to lose points for this, and I know that's such a petty fucking thing to worry about. But like, I can't be bothered with this discourse for another year, like until Starfield releases, where like, oh, Xbox can't put out any games. Like, I just can't be bothered with it. Like, people, like I said, this got taken so out of proportion. And that will happen if Redfall. Oh, look at Xbox ruining Arcane. Like everything they touch, God, they really just cannot buy a AAA game. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just cannot be bothered with that discourse. It's so irritating. Just let me play a video game. So yeah, and also, like, I've said before on the show that I'm a big fan. So it would just be personally disappointing if the game didn't perform well.
Yes, definitely.
But I would not be surprised to see Redfall land in the 70s now. To be honest with you,
maybe they send out an uphill battle, isn't it?
That's exactly it. Yeah, well said. I think it's just got a lot going against it PR wise. Even though a lot of the previews are really positive, maybe they only send out PC codes, for review process. Everybody's playing it at 60. Who knows?
Yeah.
And this, bear in mind, this game was already delayed a year.
Exactly. Yeah.
It should have been roadmapped in. I think it's a bit.
Or just let us know earlier as well. Like, we're 3 weeks off launch. I just found out I played the game at 30. Like,
yeah.
I've been watching everything at 60. I don't like this. It feels a bit deceitful. Not a big fan. If you told me this a few months ago, I probably would have come to reason with it, and I probably would not be as skeptical as I am. I would have accepted it. But it just seems a bit weird that surely they were, unless they were literally like, oh, who knows, maybe we will have the 60 frames mode ready by launch. We don't, 3 weeks before launch. That seems a bit weird to me, and their project management isn't fantastic if that's the case. They probably knew this wasn't going to happen, and they just sat on it.
Also, I mean, the lateness of it makes me think it was like a critical bug or something.
Yeah,
that's maybe I'm giving them too much benefit. Maybe I'm giving too much benefit of the doubt. But like, just the way that this came about in a tweet, I don't know. After showing 60 this whole time, just that's kind of how it makes me feel. And like, again. Yeah. Arcane have always primarily developed for PC, but now being part of the Xbox brand, there's an expectation that there needs to be parity. And also, this is the thing as well, it's kind of the straw on the camel's back for like the disparity between PC and Xbox, right? I've complained about this loads of times on the show, and I'm not the only one who have said, like, Matt, you guys need to, if you're going to try and unite these platforms, you need to make sure that there's more parity here. Like, it's getting annoying buying an Xbox and seeing that go to PC, wait a year, wait 2 years. Performance is good there, but not good here.
Exactly. Yeah.
So again, just another one of those things that Redfall is getting swept up in as part of a wider Xbox conversation. That, like, Harvey Smith is probably sat at home, like, with a cup of whiskey in his hand, like, what the fuck is going on? I thought people still liked games regardless if they were 30 or 60 frames. Like, holy shit! Like, this would never have been picked up on this scale if this wasn't a first party game.
Yeah, 100%. It has that extra pressure on its shoulders for the position it's in. Um, and I think that's where you got to try and look at it like not so harshly as well. Like Dex said, at the end of the day, Arcane, as much as they're a critically acclaimed studio, they're not the biggest studio. They have got a lot of pressure on their shoulders, and this game has jumped to the forefront of Xbox sort of marketing. It's like their first next gen, like their first jump into next gen, and it's a
That's right.
lot. Like it is a lot to take on. And I still think that they've come out, with probably going to be a very good product at the end of the day. It's just not going to tick all the boxes, and sometimes it's pretty unreasonable to ask for something to tick every single box. But yeah, that's at least the way I think of it. I want to cut them some slack. I'm hurt, but I also want to cut them some slack a little bit.
That's right.
I'm not going to jump on that hate train. I feel like this game has got so much unnecessary hate anyway. Following its release, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's like you said, it is the context of it, which obviously most people aren't going to consider or see, and that's fine. But it is still Arcane's biggest game. There is still like it's an open world, untethered, drop-in co-op at any time. When's the last time you had a game that had all of those things free? I know it's not like a hyper realistic. This game is still going to look good, by the way. Mm-hmm. Everybody who's saying this looks like shit, you're fucking idiots. This game looks great. It looks very good. Nice. It's just it has just a different style. Like I understand it's maybe not the hyper realism style that everybody has fucking boners over these days. But it still is going to look good, and at 4K it's going to look nice as well. Yeah. So yeah, it's just that added context of like it is still. It's like someone's got to be able to drop into this world on the other side at any drop of a hat, and that's like obviously taking up power. That's not an excuse. It's just the reality of it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 100%.
Okay. So there was another conversation that popped up as a result of all of this. Well, a couple, but the first was people jizzing over for the lack of a better word, over Zelda gameplay this week.
Yes.
How many frames that bad boy running at?
Probably under 30 in quite a lot of cases.
Right, yeah. I mean, is that fair? Is that fair comparison? What do you think?
It should be. Yeah. I don't think there's any reason we can't hold Nintendo, accountable for trying to hit the same sort of frame rates and the same sort of quality of like other studios, if that kind of makes sense. I know that the Switch isn't a high-powered console, but that was their choice to do that. I think it's pretty reasonable, but like I don't know, man. It's kind of hard to say because people are really weird with Nintendo and the way their games run and stuff like that. People look at Zelda and stuff like that, and then it's almost like they give it's running on Switch as like the excuse. It's just like, yeah, it runs like that, but it's running on Switch, and it's just like, that's an excuse. It's not just because they released a potato console that doesn't really do much now. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird, but I did watch that Zelda gameplay, and it did look great. Does look nice.
So yeah, firstly, I agree. I think Zelda. I think it does look good. But secondly, I guess it's expectations, right? That's kind of the thing. And I've just have I fucked that poll up? Oh no, it's there. Good. I just put a poll up as well about whether we think it should be delayed or not. But yeah, it's expectations, right? Once again, it's getting caught up in the storm of the Xbox first-party drought. When people go to Switch, the expectation is that it's going to run like shit. It's going to run at 30 or it's going to run less. Breath of the Wild dipped below 30. There are times, especially with some of the weather effects, I remember like when lightning particularly, That the game would go down to like 20. I don't know if that was something that was criticized at all in reviews, but if it was, the game still hit 95 on Open Critic or whatever the fuck it got. You know, people still put it in the top 10 games of all time.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it really goes to show how much leeway Nintendo games get, or how little it matters once people actually start playing the game.
Yeah, yeah, I think it should be the latter. Like realistically, if you're looking at it from a non-toxic perspective, like there is no reason why any consumer should just throw and bin a game that they might have been otherwise interested in just because it doesn't hit a specific technical cap that they're looking for. You know, at the end of the day, you know, video games and stuff like that is a form of art, and it's all that. You just play it, and if you enjoy it, who cares, right? At the end of the day, that's what it should be. And I do kind of, you know, respect and understand why Zelda did get those reviews and that critical acclaim, because it did achieve that, regardless of its frame rate, its graphics, all that sort of stuff, render distance. You could go on. It's not fantastic, but the game just excelled in every other area, which is something that Redfall might very well do. So, yeah, I just think you should look at games like that, 100%.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm having a look in the chat. Hi everyone, by the way, you've been very talkative in there. Thanks for that. We've been reading everything. Hellhammer says Redfall will release half-assed, then Zelda, Diablo, Starfield will release, and Redfall will get lost. It had to release banging, simple. And I think that's a fair point, because its window, May 2nd, was a pretty good window. You know, it's almost an exact year since the delay. And it had a good chance to have its moment before, you know, the second half, the onslaught kicked in. And that's part of the problem with a possible delay. Like, it's putting it amongst Final Fantasy, Spider-Man, and Starfield and Diablo. Is that really worth it for 60 frames? You know, you might say
Probably
yes,
not.
because of the amount of fuss that people are causing on Twitter. But you might say no because, well, it's Game Pass anyway, and it's an arcade game anyway. These games aren't hyper popular. It needs a high score by its name, essentially. You know, from an Xbox point of view, they need a game they can point to say, we did it. But because the gap of like what Xbox can't do is narrowing, because before it was like they can't release a good game from an acquired studio, then Grounded came out, then Pentiment came out, then they can't release like a higher budget game or a game of the year quality game, and then Hi-Fi Rush came out. You know, now we're like at the last hurdle, and it's like Xbox can't release a good AAA game because apparently, you know, Halo doesn't count on launch. You know, whatever, the service aspect sucks. Whatever, not revisiting that. Forza didn't count. I didn't count either. So now, you know, we're left with either Redfall this year, and there's a lot of other opportunities, but Redfall is the big new IP, which leaves us in, you know, essentially it puts all the weight on Starfield, because Forza won't count because it's a racing game, as we know, and Hellblade 2 won't count because it's a sequel to a game. So, you know, there's just limited opportunities in the eyes of some of these people, and that gap is narrowing. And Redfall had the chance to close that gap, and it would just be a shame if it couldn't.
Yeah.
So that's my take on it.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I think at this point, you don't delay Redfall. I do think you just release it at 30 with the product it is. You know, you're pretty confident in every other area that the game is doing. Great. You know, just release it as is. You can add a 60 later if people want to jump back into it later or visit it then. But otherwise, I do feel like, you know, a game like this, even if it drops pretty shit hot, I do think a game like this is still going to be lost in just what's coming out soon after it. Like, regardless of if it drops shit hot, like, it's just, like, if Redfall dropped at a 90 and I'm fucking loving it and I'm having a great time with my mates, I'm sorry, I'm still dropping it for Diablo when that time comes. You know, I'm still going to drop it for my time with Final Fantasy 16. All that sort of thing. So just release it at 30. Yeah. I at this point, and I know that goes against the point I said where it was just like, you know, where I was saying, you know, the 60s coming later really cheats me off. Just delay it if that's the case. But, you know, from everything we've talked about since I made that point, I've kind of have changed my mind Like it does make sense to just have it the way it is. Weirdly enough, you did it, Deck. You won me over.
Thanks, man.
You made a point that I agreed with.
That's good. Yeah, very rarely happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I don't even, to be honest, I don't even really know how I feel about it. Like, so it's pretty impressive I managed to do that. Like, ultimately, I want to trust Xbox's, or I say Xbox, but like, is it, or is this Bethesda? You know, like, who is overseeing this? Because I'd like to think
they've just, it's probably like a more of an internal thing. You like to think they just, like maybe. Arcane are just like, we kind of want to do this, and yeah, Bethesda kind of looking in on it and stuff like that. You know, I'd be very surprised if Xbox have been really driving this and pulling it in the directions they want and stuff like that. Which I think is harsh to say. Like, you know, if this does receive a poor reception, to say, oh, Xbox are killing Arcane, because I don't really feel like it would have been.
But that will happen.
Yeah, that will happen. Yeah, but I don't think that was the case. Like, yeah.
So, because someone greenlit the year delay, you know, Bethesda haven't been good at having delays historically. You know, their studios typically haven't, and some of them come in a bit hot or a bit buggy. Still good, but sometimes a bit buggy. And you know, that makes me think that it makes me want to trust whoever's overseeing this to make the right decision. And if they think that the May 2nd window, even with 30 frames, is the right time because the extra year has really shaped the game and, you know, put the game into good shape, then fine, go for it. I want us to be past this stage where Xbox is allowing games to release too early. You know, yeah, and you look at something like Minecraft Legends releasing, hitting a 73. That isn't because it was too early. That's because they're, you know, there's a bit of mixed reception around the execution of the concept. Yeah, but that's a different thing. That's fine. They're experimenting. That's, you know, whatever. Hi-Fi Rush clearly did its own thing, and that really worked. And so and that's the thing. Like, we've just gotten to that turnaround point where the developer directors have started coming, and it kind of feels like a new era a little bit. And this Redfall will represent like a step backwards if none of that comes together at all. You know, if it comes in at mid-70s, whatever, I think people will generally let that go, and it'll be fine. And some people will love it. A lot of people won't try it. But if it comes in like lower than that, like if it's an actual flop, then people are going to get angry. I don't think that's fair, but it will happen.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, but I mean, realistically speaking, I don't think this game's getting below mid-70s. I don't
think so either.
I just don't think Arcane have it in them to produce a game below mid-70s. No. Like, even if they were trying, they were actively self-sabotaging, I still think they would struggle.
A good game would still come out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So the closing question then, as we move out of the Redfall negativity toilet, should it be delayed? The poll is 75% yes and 25% no, which is interesting, I think. Because I think a lot of the hardcore community, you know, when these polls have been run on Twitter as well, it's largely been the same thing. And I don't know if that's just because it represents a community that really values technical performance, or if it's because there's people who are rooting for it, or if there's people who are rooting against it. Like, it's just hard to get a sense for it. But there is a lot of people for sure saying delay it for 60 frames.
How long would that delay realistically look as well?
Right, exactly. Like, we talking
a month,
2 months,
2 months?
Yeah, exactly.
Would it be 4? You know, like, you just don't know. Yeah.
I'd be okay either way, to be honest. I'll be disappointed if it releases and it isn't performing well technically, because that will have meant that the quality, you know, the QA hasn't been good. And this is part of that. That will be really disappointing. However, it comes out and it's really stable and the game is otherwise very, very good, that no problem. You know, if they do want to delay it, fine. If it gets buried amongst other releases, fine. Arcane games do that. You know, Horizon, all those Horizon games have done that as well and have long tails. Arcane games have long tails. We're still talking about Prey. Game fucking released in 2018.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These games have long tails, so I think it's okay to allow it to be buried on its release year, particularly with Game Pass, if they do want to delay it. So I'm kind of either way. I see the argument either way. I'm just kind of ready to play this game now and have this narrative be over. It's causing me too much anxiety.
Exactly. Yeah. I kind of just want to get my hands on it, 30 or 60.
That's right.
Yeah.
So there was some good stuff to talk about Redfall. Would you believe it or not? Jacob and Remy both had character trailers,
and they both look good.
No, good. I thought there was a couple of extra mechanics in both of those trailers, which we hadn't really seen much of. The UV lights, the players turn one of them on and petrify the vampires. There was like fuse boxes as part of the environment, other stuff that you would normally expect, explodable cars, barrels, expected. But the other stuff is, I think, kind of interesting. I'm starting to see that more and more of that systemic kind of gameplay that you're used to from Arcane games that I think a lot of people have been concerned wouldn't be present, me included. Until some of these trailers have started coming out, it's like, oh, I can shoot this and trigger a UV light, which is going to petrify that vampire, and then I can bait people over there, wait for them to unpetrify, and they can fight. Things like that. That's kind of coming together a bit.
Yeah, it looked really cool. That was the standout point for me on Jacob's trailer. Was definitely like the sneaking around invisible and him like turning on like the lamp to like petrify things and stuff like that. I was like, that's cool. I was like, I'm glad I've seen that is in the game, stuff like that, and no doubt that's probably just a very simplified method of them doing it. It's them just to be like, hey, this is here now, by the way. There's probably much more intricate ways you can do these things, and yeah, I was definitely more impressed with both of those trailers over the first
Layla's.
Over the first one, which was Layla's. I actually didn't really like Layla's trailer. Like I said that to Deck when he texted me and he was like, "Oh, did you see the Layla trailer?" I was like, "Yeah, I did." I didn't actually think it was that great, to be honest. Like I thought it was fine. I thought it was fine, but there was just something about it. I just don't think it gelled very well together. And
fair enough.
I don't know. I didn't get like incredible great vibes from that. But Jacob's trailer was much better. And then I think Remy's trailer was good, like better than Layla's, but I think Jacob so far has been the best in terms of like gameplay and just just showing off those parts of the game that no one's really seen yet. And yeah, no, it'd be interesting. Yeah, looks good.
Actually, I don't think. So the gameplay we've got running on the B-roll that Tim has very kindly lined up for us during this whole segment is from the. Oh yeah, can you do that?
Yeah, I've done it so I can see the chat again. Yeah,
thanks. Is all from the interactive adventure that they put out on Twitter, which I thought was a great idea, really good idea to market the game to what the type of game is. It gives you a bit of text, you read it, and then you make a decision, and then a bit of gameplay plays to represent the decision that you've made, and then another text thing pops up and you make a decision. So it's kind of these, it represents what an Arcane game is like. It's this kind of like emergent kind of immersive siminess gameplay. I thought it was great. Hardly anyone's going to have touched it, but I thought it was a good idea. Lots of good gameplay came from it. Particularly, there was one clip, Tim, called something birds. I'm gonna have to very quickly. Did you put them in order? Because I just like while we finish off the Redfall
I did them all in the order following down on that page you gave me, the Xbox Era page. Yeah. So if you find the video on that Xbox Era page, just let me know what number it is. I'll play on the link. But yeah, I just stopped playing with that B-roll because I was getting sick. I was getting sick of clicking on these
Second from the bottom, please. It's the longest clip, and we just leave that. Just play it once, and we can probably be done with it after that. But I thought it was a really, really great clip. And I mean, just asking everyone, really, did you like the chat? Did you do this adventure? Like, Tim, what have been your thoughts looking at some of the gameplay here? Has this been kind of in line, or has this been instilling confidence, or not really? I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, no, yeah. There's been a few clips in here, especially this one, and I think the last one as well. I actually looped the most out of all the videos because I just enjoyed what I saw from there. There was a bit of a bit of reading, a bit of investigating, a bit of environmental storytelling, some cool combat sections and stuff like that. And I felt like it was quite cool. Them fighting in one of the clips, they were fighting the vampires in the basement and stuff like that. And I thought the lighting was really cool, with like every gunshot like lit up the room and had like cool lighting, like on the vampire and stuff like that. Although there was, yeah, this is the one where he just finds that like body up the top, doesn't it? The birds, and just fires that pointless like flare. Like, who's he alerting right there? It's like, what's going on? Is this a mechanic, or are they just trying to be immersive?
It was a mechanic. Yeah, on the notes it said that they fired a flare and it triggered a fight with a vampire. So they read that there was no waypoint. There was no waypoint. He looked up into the sky, followed the birds to the thing, and then just fired a flare, and it triggered the fight.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was a really good one that was representative of I think what the game's gonna do.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I didn't realize that's the case. Yeah, little stuff like that is epic. And exactly is just kind of what Arcane does. And I think it's cool that you could miss it too. I know that sounds weird, but I think it's cool that some people will miss this and some people won't because they read the note or they didn't read the note or something like that. Like, to me, that makes for very interesting like gameplay, and like I think that's a really cool game mechanic. Because then you kind of get that sort of like, oh, I fucking did that shit, like I read that note and I did it, and I got this fight, and my idiot friend didn't. Like Caden.
Yeah, that's right.
Caden, no doubt. It's just he's never going to read that note. He'll never fire that flare. He'll never fight this
dumbass,
this wailing spirit. And this is like a cool boss fight as well. He's like fighting in like a void, like a fucking like darkness, like trap void thing. Yeah, this was cool. This was one of my favorite clips. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of going to be representative of the gameplay, really. And that's what was so fucking irritating about the IGN gameplay, because it was like,
dog shit.
You don't just take a clip of a fucking like enforcement boss and be like, yeah, this is Redfall, isn't it? It's like, that is not what the game is going to play like. Like,
and even if and fight it inside a janky building with it like clipping in and out the door frame. It's like anyone can find exploits and make a game look kind of poopy.
Yes.
Like there are so many times in Elden Ring I just like cheese like a really difficult enemy by fighting it in a doorway. I'm not going to upload that to my fucking millions of subscribers YouTube channel to show off a game. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah. I'm with you, man. I think my fingers are crossed. I think I've seen enough that I think that this is going to be good. If there's enough like silliness that annoys reviewers enough, whether it's like the progress, campaign progress not sharing in co-op, or if it's 30 frames, or if it's like the always online stuff at launch. I don't know if they're going to be able to get rid of that before launch. I don't know. Like, if that stuff really brings the game down lower, I mean, that will suck, but it is what it is. I still think the game itself is going to be good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm confident this game's going to be pretty decent. I'm not confident. My confidence has gone down from what I previously thought. Like, at one point I was predicting this game might be mid 80s. I think I said maybe like 5-6 episodes ago or something when we were talking about this. I'm probably looking more around like scrape at 80 now, maybe. But that's still a good game. And like you said, like, I feel like Arcane games are like a fine wine. I feel like they just get better with age, and they're like a marathon, not a sprint sort of thing. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this one settles, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. If Redfall can hit 80, that will be a big success, I would say.
Yes,
because that's what Prey hit, and then all of us can just point to Prey and be like, "Well, you loved Prey. I got 80."
Yeah, I can't wait to do that.
Depending on where you look. On Metacritic, Prey got 79. Didn't even crack 80.
Which is like, it's criminal to me. Like,
crazy, yeah. But it had performance issues at launch, I think, like that dragged it down. And I just hope that's the thing. Stability is more important ultimately. Like, if they need to get it to 30 for it to be stable, fine. Like, and maybe that's the QA coming in from Xbox side. Maybe they're like, look, like, you tried your best, but a 60 frame is gonna fuck the reviews up. Like, basically, just go with the locked 30, get it and have it stable. Maybe that's the compromise. So we'll see. God, this has been an interesting saga. That's for sure.
I love a saga, dude. It's like a Dragon Ball Z saga. Like Redfall's been powering up for like 30 episodes.
Yeah, it really has been. Yeah. I'm very excited to play it. We'll see. Hopefully, there's some more gameplay trailers that come out in the next few weeks. Dev will be the last character left. And if we're really lucky, I can harass the Bethesda UK rep enough to get a review code. It's not happening. We're too small, but
it's gonna happen. Cool if it was. Make it happen, guys. There's so many of you popping off in chat. We just need a few of you to politely go and ask.
Very politely. Yeah. Just wanted to give a quick shout out to Hellhammer, who said, I must say, a great show tonight, guys. I don't often get a free Saturday night, but glad I stumbled upon this tonight. And then he did 2 clanking beers, which, I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Glad you enjoyed it, man. It's good to have you.
Thanks for being here, guys. We're going to move on from Redfall now, but we don't like to keep the show going really longer than 2 hours for our own sanity, really, but probably in yours. You'll be clicking off. So we're just going to cover some of the bigger stories. There's been some dashboard updates. There's been some reports around sales, and Microsoft teamed up with EE, which is a EE, the letters EE for maybe Americans who don't know what that is, for a mobile provider. Is that right? Mobile service provider in the UK for cloud. The details of how that's going to work are a bit fuzzy, but there's not much more to talk about there. I think something I did want to cover while we're kind of in this negativity slant a little bit is just how well the PlayStation 5 is doing and kind of how bad the Xboxes have been doing, at least in the first quarter of this year. Right, PlayStation 5 sales are up year over year, 180%. Switch is down over 25%, and Xbox Series is down 18%. And I think it's a little bit worrying to be only 3 years into, less than 3 years into the gen, and for sales to be declining.
It's not. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Like, sales have been fairly good last year, even though it was a weak year, because I think it was still had a lot of good PR from the end of 2021. But now it's suffering. Like, now it's really suffering from the bad 2022. I feel. I mean, what are your thoughts on these numbers?
Yeah, they it's disappointing to see. Definitely, and it's like it's not even down by like a small amount. Like, down 18% is that's like a fifth. Like a fifth down in profits, like down in sales and stuff like that.
That's nearly one of my limbs.
Yeah, exactly. That's chunky. So yeah, that's pretty rough. But I do think they're still in like the ramp up sort of stage. And I do think there's a lot coming, and I do think people buy consoles, and people tend to invest in this sort of thing once the games have released, once the games have been reviewed critically and people are talking about them, stuff like that, and they're like, oh hey, I should get an Xbox now because Starfield rocks. The amount of people and the amount of social media I saw of people buying like a PlayStation when Hogwarts Legacy came out. I know Hogwarts Legacy isn't even exclusive, but just like the marketing behind that made people associate it with PlayStation. I hope Diablo does that for Xbox, by the way, because that will increase sales a lot as well. I think we'll see a similar trend there.
Oh, they need to get that on cloud. Like, sorry to just jump in. Like, even if they can't get the acquisition through, they need to get it on cloud. In the same way they did with Fortnite. Fortnite, you can play, even though obviously it's not on Game Pass. Fortnite, they need to I hope they can just make a deal to get it on. That would be so big if they can do that. Like, it's mental.
It'd be massive. Yeah, for sure. I'd be taking like my Surface Pro to your house, like for our weekend meetup, so I could just play Diablo on that. If it managed to make it to cloud, that would be epic. But yeah, I do think we're likely to see these shoot back up. I do think you see a trend of that happen when games actually release for these. Like, it's not often, especially with people being burned so much by releases as of the last few years of gaming and stuff like that. It's not often you see people buy a console in preparation of Redfall, in preparation of Starfield, because a lot of people are very skeptical about games these sort of days, and pre-orders and stuff like that. So, But yeah, I mean, obviously PlayStation are fucking killing it. And yeah, they've released some bangers recently. So yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and it's not even. It's not like if Hogwarts Legacy didn't have a marketing deal with PlayStation, that it would have been neutral. Like PlayStation is still the leading platform, and as a result, when big games come out, PlayStation gains more ground. That's how it works. So with the marketing deal, with they had like some exclusive quests or some shit, didn't they? You know, it's enough to really drive brand association. Yes, like of course that's going to pick up, and like you said, you know, with a bit of distance from launches of games and bundles that come out afterwards, like yeah, that gets traction. I think they're still getting a lot of success from God of War too.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
those two games are really marquee. You know, Hogwarts set the world on fire. You know, God of War was everywhere. Like PlayStation is just really good at conventional marketing. You know, they had like giant Leviathan axes in London and shit like that. You know, they really sort of penetrate through to the core gamer. You know, even casual gamers here know about these releases, whether they're going to buy them or not, and that's important. Xbox just cannot do that for some reason.
Yeah,
Getting there, but you know, whatever. Captain Crunch makes a really good point as well. Series X has had some weird supply issues for months. Some speculate those missing Series X, X and S Xboxes are going into server blades instead of retail. So like, it's not just about demand. There is some supply issues as well. And so it's a good point. It's a good point.
I mean, it's down to supply issues. I think Sony have had the most supply issues out of everyone today.
They have, but they've sorted out. Yeah. They sorted it out about maybe the beginning of this year actually.
It wasn't that long ago. Last couple of months, last few months. Yeah.
But you're right. That would explain an explosion in sales, like for sure. You know, even 3 months in April, 4 months in. I'm trying to think of something else. And this is the thing as well. PlayStation currently only has Spider-Man 2 lined up for launch this year. And in any other situation, if it wasn't a Spider-Man game, that would be bad news for sales. But even the first Spider-Man was such a fucking colossal success in sales. It critically did well, but like, you know, the sales-wise is off the charts. Having said that, did God of War? I just can't remember if God of War has outsold it, like, you know, per capita, like in the same amount of time. I actually don't know.
I don't think it did. I don't think. I'm not certain on that, but I don't think it did.
Yeah, so we'll see. So in any other situation, that would be bad news. But Spider-Man 2 is going to be so big that it's going to probably drive enough sales.
Absolutely.
Especially when they start showing gameplay, you know. So we'll see. And yeah, Captain Crunch makes another really good point. Maybe all of that funneling the series, the components into the server blades is a ramp up for Diablo on xCloud. Maybe, and that would make sense. But huffing on that copium, huffing on that opium.
we're deep in the rabbit hole now. I like it.
Yeah, that's it. Xbox isn't selling well because all of the Xboxes are getting ready for Diablo. Oh, this must be it.
I mean, it is.
We're just optimistic, man. We're just optimistic. You can't. I'm not. It's not hopium. It's optium.
Yeah, man.
Sounds like a drug. All right. And also, loads of Bethesda games are coming to PS Plus. Tim, what the fuck's that about? Hey, I'm a toxic gamer. This guy right here. I'm a toxic. I want to take games away. Get them out.
Yeah.
Get rid of them.
Are you serious? Yeah, I don't want that.
Yeah, get them out. Yeah. Doom Eternal, Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus, The Evil Within, and Wolfenstein: The Old Blood, and Doom 1, 2, 64, Doom 3, Dishonored Definitive Edition, all come into fucking PS Plus. What's that about, eh?
It's ridiculous.
That's great, isn't it? Not happy with that.
It's kind of weird. Like low-key, not being toxic, but yeah.
It's a little bit weird, yeah.
I mean, you know, those games have released. Those games have sold already. You know, they've already reached all the numbers they're going to get in terms of like physical sales. You know, why not bump the numbers back up and get them into these subscription services, right? You know, Xbox have never shown that they're, you know, for these popular IPs that spread across like platforms, they've never shown to want to make them exclusive. They've always shown to just be like, just give it everyone and reach some ridiculous numbers, you know.
Yeah,
that's always
unless it is an exclusive. Yeah, like
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, Hi-Fi
Actually,
Rush isn't going to appear on PS Plus.
yeah, exactly. And plus, yeah, like the Bethesda thing is the deal went through. There was like anything like before is not deemed exclusive, wasn't it?
Yeah,
So
the legacy stuff is what he said. Yeah.
So it doesn't surprise me that this sort of stuff is still making its way. Yeah. So, but no, it's not a big deal to me. Obviously,
No,
we
it's
were
not a
just
big deal.
kidding.
It just,
We were being toxic.
yeah, it just came at a bad time. It came in, like the day after Redfall. And everyone's like, "Oh my god, Xbox is ready to pivot into a publisher." This is what I mean. Like everybody lost their fucking mind. Everyone was like, they've given up on their first party releases. They've given up. They're just going for 30 frames. It's going to be a flop, and then they're just going to pivot. They're going to sell all Xboxes. They're going to brick them from your house. Phil's going to turn up with a hammer, smash it, and he's going to say, "We're a publisher now. Go buy Switch. We're going to put fucking Redfall on there." Starfield, nah, not coming to Xbox. We're going to put it on your Mac. We're going to put it on Linux.
Yeah. Jesus Christ, man. Yeah. Shit's coming to the Ouya.
I love the Ouya.
But yeah. Is that Slay the Spy being added to that game catalog as well?
Yeah, you know it.
That's kind of fire. For
Enjoy that.
PlayStation. Play that.
Yeah,
Couldn't recommend that game enough.
Team Blue, yeah. Right, where are we at for time? All right, we've got 15 minutes left in us. We can do this.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
What's like the most interesting bit that we've got left? Oh, let's see the dashboard. I like talking about dashboard. Do you?
I like talking about what I want from the fucking shitty dashboard. Yeah.
It's taken a bit of a while, hasn't it? It's been like 3 years. Been like 3 years, and it's like I don't know how long it can take to just move a couple icons around. Honestly.
Takes a while, man. The guy's got a really slow sense on his mouse. Takes him a while to drag and drop that.
Fucking that DPI is like 1. Yeah, right. Okay, so what happened then? So a couple of things in the past few weeks. The first thing was that they're going to have a friending community tab, which is great. If you've been following this show, you know me and this guy right here. We want an activity feed back. Like even if you're like an antisocial gamer, like you still have people on your friends list, I bet, like family or especially because of the way that the friend system works on Xbox now. It's not like friend request, accept request. You follow, So it was work really well for you to follow like a YouTuber that you watch or something, and you can just see their fucking clips pop up and their status updates, and that's great. It just kind of organically flows into the dashboard. That we want something like that, and obviously it's just been gone since they deleted the activity feed. So that's good. It's going to be, as it stands at the moment, it's going to be like a row underneath your current dashboard. So kind of where your pins are, but its own separate thing. You won't be manually pinning it. It's just kind of there, which...
Yeah.
I'm glad it's coming back.
You still have to
I feel like they kind of need to
scroll to like a different screen to get to it, don't you? It's just like...
That's right.
It's a bit weird, but yeah.
I mean, we'll see. I'll have to get my hands on it, but I kind of feel like I do want a bit more of an overhaul. There's loads of good mock-up UIs that fans have done. So we'll see. And they also have said they've gone back on their decision to rework the UI. I say rework, it was hardly a change, but we spoke about this ages ago, Tim. Like on the notes, it's the picture on the right-hand side where they essentially were going to compress all the tiles into 2 rows in the middle of your screen.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, God damn it. Like the one bit of feedback we've been giving you guys is that we want more dynamic backgrounds and we want to see them. So what do? Jam a load of tiles in front of the screen.
Yeah.
And they've said, okay, fine. we won't go ahead with that for now. We've got a bigger update coming, so we'll update you when we've got more.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's good. Because and they're adding more and more like really nice backgrounds as well. So yeah, it's a shame to see that covered up, and I can even see Captain Crunch said the exact same thing before we got into this topic. Yeah, he doesn't mind all the ads and stuff, but he hates the tile stealing the background. For sure. So I'm glad that they've decided to pump the brakes on this and maybe take it in a different direction. But like, I mean, the friends and community thing is exciting, and it actually made me go into the Xbox Insider and actually put my put myself back into the Delta Ring, I think it was, because I was
Yeah.
in it ages ago and I was just like nothing was really happening, so I took myself out of it. But like I put myself back in because I want that like as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really exciting. Yeah, I just like the idea of just scrolling through and just seeing that, you got some achievements in GTA. You got the achievement for finishing it. Oh, what on, man! I join a party with you. I'm like, nice.
Woo!
Congrats on
Yeah.
completing GTA. You know, that's what I want.
You do that, would you? You
I
just
would
join and be like, "Hey,
absolutely do
man,
that.
congrats on finishing it. Bye."
Yeah.
Just leave.
Just wanted to say massive congratulations for
Wow.
finishing it. The card is on its way in the post. Well, man.
That's so nice. There's just a lot of untapped potential, isn't there? Because there's a lot of things where like the dashboard has just been neglected for such a long time. Like I've spoken about like the Microsoft rewards. I might have some sort of compulsion or obsessive disorder, with that. But nonetheless, I get 3 points, and I think that needs to be integrated better into Game Pass quests. And they've started that process. We spoke about this last week a little bit, but it's kind of weird. Like it's not cohesive, and I think they are. I think there was. I should have put it in the notes. Actually, I read something about them tying in Game Pass quests to the Game Pass tab like more seamlessly, but I feel like that needs to still be combined with Microsoft Rewards somehow. That's one thing. Activity feed, a second thing. Avatars. Yeah, you fucking forgot about them, didn't you? Xbox's avatars.
At this point, I actually just I just don't give a shit. Just remove avatars. Like you tried, and I do feel like it just fell flat. I feel like even if they did it well, I think it's going to fall flat. I don't think anyone gives a shit about avatars anymore. I certainly
don't. You might be right, but that's only because they've been hidden for so long. Like it was just core part. When people think of the 360, they think of like the fucking green tiles, and your avatar was just like chilling by each tile by the game, like by your friends, like doing the thing.
Yeah, but do you really want to see that now? You want
sure? I mean, if it was executed well, like just give me an option to turn it on or off. Like I like to see, and I can see your avatar when my Xbox goes idle. I see your avatar. That's the only time I see it. Like it pops up on the side of the screen, and your dude's having a little rest.
Tell you what they really need though.
What?
Is their own version of a platinum trophy. That's what they really need.
Yes, achievements. That was the next thing I was going to say. Yeah, that needs to be. They need to sort that out.
Plus, it's so hidden as well. It's the amount of menus I have to go through just to find like my progress or like compare it to like you and stuff like that. It's so weird and so janky, and it's just like, for fuck's sake, what's going on here?
Yeah. It's just it used to be something that they led in, and it's just such a shame that they're not anymore. I don't think, they're still good. Don't get me wrong, achievements are still good. They make a nice noise, and I like the diamond achievements.
Yeah, the diamond achievement thing is great. Yeah, that's awesome.
There's a game score leaderboard as well, which is like a nice touch, I guess. But I just feel like there's more that could be done that they're not doing. I do like what they've done with the store. I've got to admit, I like the store. I like the Xbox store now. There's loads of features in there now that we had been asking for ages. Like the other day, I just went and checked my wish list out, and and it reminded me that I had games in my wish list that were now discounted. Like for example, I've got the Doom season pass, Doom Eternal for like the Ancient Gods, because like actually if that's on a good sale, I'm just gonna buy that. And it popped up and been on sale, and I'm still mulling it over. But just I think they've done a really good job with the store.
Yeah, they have improved that. Yeah, I will agree there. They do some stuff very well. It's just the main stuff. It's that homepage. It's that homepage they need to work on.
Yeah, it is. And I do quite like the idea with the avatars that if they ever do bring them back, everyone is going to be like 10 years younger. Like everyone's going to cringe at how their avatars were dressed because the last time they edited them was in 2013 or
I think my avatar had like some like cringy ass like hoodie on, and he didn't have like a beard or anything, because I didn't have a beard. I had no chance in growing a beard when I made that avatar. Look at me now.
Look at you now, dude. Look at us both. Yes, we're clearly not compensating. This just happened, you know.
Yeah, just happened overnight. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, I think what have we got here in the chat? Sorry, have the ads at the top. Hellhammer says, have the ads at the top, then have the rest customized. That is why Android have advantage over iPhone. I'm an Android user and I hate Tim Apple's lack of customized UI. Yeah, there is definitely a missing
Mac. I'm Android and everything else, but I am using a Mac. I think he had a dig at me there.
No, I think he's talking about Tim Cook.
Oh, okay. Good.
We are missing a trick on how customizable Windows is, and that just not being a thing on Xbox. Like, I'm a bit confused that we're still not at the point where we can customize tiles and stuff like that. So maybe Windows 12 is supposed to be a bit more like that, but that's not coming out for a while. So I don't know. Maybe there's some alignments to fit it in with that design language, especially as Xbox needs to be consistent across loads of devices now. You know, PC, phone, smart TVs. You know, so fingers crossed that we get all these things that our heart desire, but we will have to wait and see.
Yeah, indeed.
Perfect. All right, that's it. We're done. That's the show.
We're done.
Yeah, 80% Redfall, 20%
bullshit.
16 other tiny stories. Yeah, 6% bullshit.
16% concentrated power of will.
It's a good song, that. I like that.
It's a good song. I can't tell you who it's done by. I'll tell you the name of the song. But it's a good song. Does this help you?
Fort Minor.
What? Is it actually?
Fort Minor. It's Fort Minor, dude.
All right. Respect. I took the piss out of your process, but you proved me wrong.
Did you confirm it?
No, I haven't confirmed it. You were so certain I needed to.
Skill 15.
Are you actually typing that in?
Concentrated power of will.
It's like the longest Google search ever.
Yeah, Fort Minor. Let's go.
Wow, look at you go. Claps in the chat for that.
Thank you. Yo, did Ed Sheeran cover it?
Yo. No, we're gonna get a license. Don't play it. We're gonna get copyrighted.
No, he didn't. It's a different song. Okay. Thanks, guys. You've been great today.
Yeah. Pop it off.
If you're new here, pop it off in the chat. I like that. It feels friendly. It feels warm. Okay. It's nice. I like it. Yeah, if you're new here, consider sticking around. We'll do this every week. Sunday time. Come follow us on Twitter. Links are in description. Subscribe, all that good stuff. That'd be great. Send us a pizza if you fancy it. I'll give you a dummy address.
Which I check once a week in case pizzas do turn up there.
Yeah. Don't hang around though. Because if someone else is there when I check the dummy address, I scatter like a deer in the headlights because obviously I don't want you to tail me back.
Of course. And obviously when you drive to that fake place, you put on a fake license plate in case someone does tail you back.
Obviously.
You drive a different route home and you jump out and swap cars halfway. It's hard being famous, guys.
And I wear gloves. I have to throw gloves out the window. I have to snap my phone in half, different directions out the window.
Some say he's paranoid, but really he's just a genius.
I'm just practical.
Yeah.
All right, guys, you've been great. We'll catch you on the flippity flip. See you later. Bye.
Goodbye, everyone. Bye.